The Arizona Education Association.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And I'm your host, Bob Roth, and it's hard to believe. It is 2018, January 5th, and we're just about ready to start our 5th year being on the air. And if this is the first time you're tuning in to Health Futures is a show about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And how do we do that? We bring extraordinary guests to the show. And if you want to catch some of our programming that we've been bringing to you for nearly 5 years now, you can go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com, click on the media button, hit the drop down. The third button down is the radio show, and you'll be able to catch about 180 to 190 that we've been bringing to you for nearly 5 years. And as I said, we make this show by bringing extraordinary guests, and today is no different. Actually, today is very different because I have an extraordinary woman that is across from me who I had the pleasure of meeting at the Aging 2.0 conference. And I've talked about Aging 2.0, and Aging 2.0 is a movement, if you would. It's a curator where tech and innovation meets the older adult world. And we had, back in May, we had a global startup challenge that was held at ASU SkySong. And we had about 140 attendees there, and Smart Brain Aging won the contest. And while they didn't win the overall national award, they had a great solution and still do today for those that are challenged with dementia and Alzheimer's. And I met this lovely woman. I was going to say young woman because she does look very young at the challenge, and she was there after we gave out the award, and she introduced herself to me. And her name is Barbara Penn Atkins, and I want to welcome you to the show. Welcome to the show, Barbara.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here because you are both an older adult as well as you are an innovator because you have reinvented yourself.
That I have done 2 or 3 times, but more than now is the most important time of my life.
And I love hearing that. For our listening audience, you're not able to see her, but you will see her if you go to our website because I will have this show up there at the end of the day today, and you'll see pictures of this show, and you'll also see YouTube with the pictures as well as the audio from our show here today. And you will see that she defies the laws of aging because she does not look nearly her age. Am I allowed to tell the audience how old you are? Let's put it this way. She was born in the 1930s. How about that? I'll just leave it at that.
Let's just go on and say that I was born in the 1935s.
In the 1935s.
Yes.
And she was at my office the other day, and I kind of took a random poll, and I didn't share this with you, Barbara, but I asked my team members to see if they could guess how old you were. And let's put it this way. They were guessing that you were born in the 1950s, so not the 1930s. So whatever you're doing it right. And I've invited you here to the show today because of, first of all, you have lived an extraordinary life. And you are from if I remember correctly, Southfield, Michigan.
Yes.
And you were successful in business, not just one but 2 businesses, and and really did a phenomenal job in the staffing business back in, I think it was the 70s and 80s.
Early 80s.
Early 80s.
So we started the first company, which was an executive search firm. And that, of course, was in Detroit, when they were just building the Renaissance Center.
Wow.
And we were one of the companies that was responsible for staffing for the civil engineer to help build that company through Ford Motor Company. And that was a humble beginning. And then, of course, I spent most of my time between Detroit, and my final residence was in Southville.
Wow. And you were a career woman, and had an extraordinary business, and lived an extraordinary life, and lived the American dream, so to speak. You owned your own home. You raised 3 children. You had a beautiful husband, and I'll let you tell the rest.
Well, I have had an extraordinary life. I've had one that I say that so many young women, if they could only just have the 1/10 of the experience that I have had, even before I was 40 years old, they would say that I have lived a great life. I've had the opportunity to be a serial entrepreneur, of which I learned from my dad when I was a young girl. I have never worked for corporate America. I've always owned my own companies, and I've grown from there. But most importantly is that I cared for people. I had a passion for wanting to know, how can I help them take their lives to the next level? And so I think my first job was that of an Avon girl.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did. I started selling cosmetics. And
ding dong, Avon's calling.
Yeah, Avon's calling. Knock, knock.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. And then I built an organization up under me, and then I saw those ladies move on and flourish, and what a difference that it was making. But most importantly, it was when I married my husband, and I was trying to find a partner whose mind sort of aligned with mine in a service-oriented business that would cause us to have the quality of life that both of us desired. And then we moved into the executive search. In this business, it enabled me again to look into the communities and say, look, there are needs here. How can I help to fill some of those? I was in charge of, vice president in charge of clerical staffing. At that time, in the 70s and 80s, they were laying off so many people. But most importantly were those that I consider as the bottom of the pyramid. Mm-hmm. Those were your clericals. Those were your secretaries. They were the last hired and the first laid off or fired.
Right.
And I said, there has to be a system that someone can start to create an employment for them. Too many of them were on what we call ADC, Aid to Dependent Children, the welfare.
Right.
I said, this is not the life that God intended for everyone to have. So I chose...
And it was mostly women.
And it was mostly women.
Mostly women.
Mostly women. And I see this even today. Mostly women, even in professional careers. And I see the inequality of women today. Mm-hmm. And my blood just boiled. But what I did is that I told my husband, I says, look, I want to do something and start a business on my own. And he said, well, what are you going to do? Well, I understand from my dad that you should always call upon your strongest passion, something that you really have a love for. And I had a love for typing. That was during the era of the Bill Gates and the computers mm-hmm. and the old Xerox 860s and all of those things. I was still typing on the IBM Selectrics. And but the companies, the corporations in the community, they were laying off this level of people. And I says, but their work still has to be done.
Right.
So what I thought of is find a need and fill it. I found the need with the corporate arena, and I found a need in the community that they need to have a sustainable income. So I started a word processing service bureau. And it was, a matter of fact, it was my company that typed and transcribed the first edition of Newsweek magazine.
No way.
Yes, when they were celebrating their 50th year. And we and how that all started is that our offices were in the Renaissance Center, and I went knocking on the doors, and I said, if you had some typing or anything like that, would you outsource it to someone like me? And they said, of course. Can you transcribe tapes? I said, oh my God, I've never transcribed a tape. But then I had that yes, I can attitude.
Sure. And
we transcribed one. I found a gal in the files, my husband's files of clerical staffing, and it's history.
Wow.
He took the transcription back to New York and came back the next week with a shopping bag full of tapes. We ended up transcribing that entire edition for Newsweek magazine.
I just looked it up. Founded in 1933.
That's right.
So this was 1983.
Right.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
Well, Barbara, we're getting taken out by Bruce Springsteen, but I just want to say this. We're just touching a little bit on your professional career, and I want to really talk about your new career and what really led you to this. So I want to finish up a little bit about what you did as a young professional and what you accomplished, but this new career that you've taken on is one that I think will resonate with our listening audience. If I sound a little nasal, I got that flu, crazy cold that's been going on. You're listening to Health Futures Taking Stock in You. We're here January 5th, coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. I got Barbara Penn Atkins. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Johnny D.
And I'm Rick, the Professor Plum.
Every day on Bucket Strategy Investing, we're talking about financial planning, investment decisions, and retirement strategies.
We focus on wealth education and the strategy designed for the needs you have today
and the goals you have for the future. Tune in to Bucket Strategy Investing.
And call in with questions.
Retirement strategies, taxes, Social Security, and more. That's what we're talking about on Bucket Strategy Investing.
The results are in. A survey of Inc. 5000 companies shows the top barriers to growth.
It's taking finance too long to close the books.
So slow to launch new products.
We need to hire good people and keep them.
Too many disconnected systems. I can't see what's happening in my business.
Sounds like they've outgrown their business and financial management systems. QuickBooks and spreadsheets worked fine at the start, but now it takes twice the effort to get things done, and you can't get accurate answers. You should know the #1 system for growing companies, NetSuite from Oracle. NetSuite is the one system that tracks and manages revenue, cash flow, HR, inventory, projects, even e-commerce for every industry. Now you can run your business from a dashboard on your phone. That's why thousands of companies use NetSuite. It's the only system you need to run your business. Go to netsuite.com/radio to get your free guide called Crushing the 5 Barriers to Growth. That's netsuite.com/radio.
If you're listening to this message, then that's a good sign. In fact, we're always interested in good signs. Good signs identify people and places. Good signs communicate important information. With our business, we not only encourage good signs, we create them. We're Croy Sign Systems. Our signs identify, direct, and inform so you can navigate through life faster and easier. And that's a really good Croy sign. Call Croy Sign Systems today at 480-619-6070 or visit us online at kroysigns.com.
No freezers, no microwaves, no heat lamps ever. At In-N-Out Burger, always fresh is the only way. Come taste the In-N-Out difference.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. We're on our second segment, coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park, right here at Money Radio Studios. 1510 AM, 105.3 FM, and we're found on the World Wide Web at moneyradio1510.com. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, right now, we've got Barbara Penn Atkins here in the studio. She is a consultant and life coach, and I want to really just pick up what we left off on the first segment. If you missed that one, you can go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com, click on the media button, hit the drop-down arrow. The third button down is radio shows. You can catch this first segment and about 180 or 190 others that we've been bringing to you for nearly 5 years now. So, Barbara, we were just talking about your previous career, if you would, and we were talking about Newsweek, and we were talking about how you were transcribing audio tapes into word processing for their production of their magazine. But I really want to talk more about, that success, and then you, as many of our listening audience, and many of my clients deal with loss. Mm-hmm. You had befallen a lot of loss. And I want to just have our listening audience understand the depths that you went through, because many of them are going through this right now. And if it's not our listening audience, it's a loved one that they know. Could be a parent, could be a grandparent, could be a neighbor that has had something similar happen to them. And what you did to overcome it. And I think this really, your story is amazing and it's inspiring. And if you would be so kind to share what you went through would be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Transitioning from the time that I started the Word Processing Service Bureau and grew and moved into data conversion, that's when I grew the company from one employee, which was myself, to 185.
Wow.
And during this time, between 1980s up through 1998, excuse me.
That's right. I talked about having this stuff going on.
Oh,
I think you have it too.
It is indeed. Up until that time, I had had many successes, the highs and the lows. Invited to participate in business development that took me overseas to China and to Africa and to places of that sort.
Wow.
But during this era, I also had many losses. And I mean, it called up on my strongest strength. I thought I was going to need football pads for my knees for prayer all the time. Near the end, I lost my husband to prostate cancer. My daughter, who had multiple sclerosis for 26 years, both were in intensive care at the same time. I had damaged my knees from being an avid clown on the ski slopes and ran into a fence. Yes.
And both of them, and you did share this with me, both of them were in the hospital at the same time.
Both were in the hospital at the same time.
One was at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, and the other one was at University Hospital in Ann Arbor.
At Ann Arbor, and I'm driving to and fro every day.
Oy.
And in the meantime, because our business had grown from a mere investment of $1,500 to a multi-million-dollar company in less than 5 years. We had bidded on a contract. I was an SBA 8A certified minority woman entrepreneur. And we had bidded on an $11 million contract. And apparently some guy decided out of the Fairfax, Virginia area that I have the first right of refusal on it. And so he fought SBA. And the bottom line is that he won. And it was moved from us to him. I lost after investing $500,000 just to service this one contract. All within 18 months, lost a husband, my daughter, my mom, and the loss of the business that I had grown so devastatingly in trying to make a difference in other people's lives.
This was at the end of the 90s, 98?
This was the end of the 90s.
So this is almost 20 years ago.
It was almost 20 years ago, but sometimes the memories are just like yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure.
And the thing is, after the death of my mom and after going through dual knee replacements, my son that lived here in Arizona decided, says, look, Mom, you need to make a change, because I was going downhill fast, it was just fast. It really was.
Right.
And so a friend of mine said to me, said, Barbara, you've done so much with college graduates coming out of college and into corporate positions, helping them to get through the door and the process to the glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you take a look at coaching? Why don't you take a look at working with these people at their adult level? And that's when I decided to go for my certification and training to become a retirement transition life coach. After observing many women in our communities in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and on, I saw that there was something missing for them. Once they retired, they began to look old because they didn't have a plan for their life in place.
And you know what? It's not so different from what you were doing when you were engaging the young women workers as administrators. I mean, you were trying to get them into the workforce. I mean, yes, it's a different age category and a different group, but I would imagine the demographics or the genders are still women that you're really...
Many of them are. As a matter of fact, I've only had one male that I've had as a coach, as a client. All the others have been females. But the thing is what I found to be the bottom line, and even with myself, because when I lost the business and the deaths of my loved ones, I said to myself, what's next? What am I going to do?
Right.
I myself did not have a personal plan in place. I didn't know what I was going to do. How am I going to transition from a lifestyle of a millionaire down to where I am now at zero? How do you plan to live a quality life and enjoy life from this day forward? And so this is where many of our people today see retirement and this transition stages and going through all of the ups and downs is very, very emotional.
And with loss like you achieved, or not achieved, like loss that occurred to you, you could have easily packed it in.
Oh.
You could have easily said, you know what, woe is me.
Yep.
I'm going to just sit here in my apartment. I could, government subsidy, HUD. I could go into a Medicaid, facility, but you weren't going to have that.
No.
You were like, wait a second. There's more to life.
That's right.
Than this.
That's right. There's more to life than succumbing to what has happened to you. Because, see, what happens to you does not define who you are.
Thank you. And you know what? We're getting ready to come up on halftime because I want to spend the whole second half of our show talking about what you're doing for others and what you've done for yourself. Mm-hmm. Because easily our listening audience right now probably can relate to someone in their life that has gone through loss, who has packed it in and said, woe is me. I got dealt a bad deck of cards, or bad hand of cards, and I'm going to have to deal with it. We're at halftime here at Health Futures Taking Stock in You, and I got Barbara Penn Atkins here. She's a consultant and coach. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Republican Senator Chuck Grassley, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, is calling for a Justice Department criminal investigation into former British intelligence agent Christopher Steele. He's author of the dossier which indicates there was coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia in 2016. It's the first known criminal referral in congressional probes into Russian interference in the U.S. election. North Korea will send representatives to meet with their South Korean counterparts next week, the first direct talks between the countries in 2 years. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson seems to be downplaying the North's intentions.
I know some are speculating that this may be their first effort to open a channel. But as you know, we've had channels open to North Korea for some time, and so they do know how to reach us if and when they're ready to engage with us as well.
President Trump left the White House this afternoon for a weekend of meetings with congressional Republican leaders at Camp David. The legislative plan and this year's elections on the agenda. I'm Michael Toscano.
Howdy, folks. I'm Colonel Sanders. When I told folks my signature KFC pot pie was filled with delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, veggies, and topped in a golden flaky crust and only cost $3.99, they said I was crazy. And maybe I was, because that was 1980, and $3.99 was a lot of money back then. But today, getting a meal that size for just $3.99 is a really great deal. So stop into a KFC and get yourself a pot pie. It's finger-licking good. At participating KFCs for a limited time. Prices may vary. Tax extra.
Geico presents Unhelpful Home Improvement How-Tos.
You can't predict when a pipe will burst, but when one does, you'll have quite a mess on your hands. So today, I'll show you how to prep for water damage by covering everything you own in plastic wrap. All you need is a lot of patience and 15,000 feet of plastic wrap. Now let's get started.
You could try to protect your stuff by covering it in plastic wrap, or you could get covered for personal property damage through the Geico Insurance Agency. Visit geico.com and see how affordable renter's insurance can be. Subject.
For a happier life, remember, it's your money. Be smart with it. And listening every day to Money Radio will cause your money IQ to go up, way up.
Every morning at 8 a.m., get timely market updates, breaking news on market movers, and strong analysis on financial topics to help you plan, invest, insure, retire, and stay retired. Don't miss Mastering Money every morning at 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Hear best-selling author and wealth manager Steve Jurich, along with his great lineup of financial experts, CPAs, and attorneys. Mastering Money now at 8, right here on Money Radio, AM 1510 and 105.3 FM. See you there.
It's an extremely valuable resource. It's found in offices, buildings, and schools. It's a resource that speaks volume, yet it never makes a sound. Everyone recognizes it. Everyone uses it. Interestingly enough, it's rarely discussed. Croy Sign Systems, designers and manufacturers of architectural and ADA signs since 1981. Let Croy be your resource for identification, direction, and information. Give Croy Signs a call at 480-619-6070 or online at kroysigns.com.
Hi, everybody. Bill Tatro here. You know, being on the radio here in the Valley for over a decade and across the country for over 30 years, so much of my advice was based on the world's economic impact on the markets. The show was called It's All About Money. And since then, I've produced a newsletter that shares those same insights. Not specific advice for a product or service, but rather an economist's viewpoint that might help guide you in your financial choices. Dozens of articles each month are delivered right to you, designed to educate and help you control your economic future. To be informed is the best preparation for the future. I'm back and offering Money Radio listeners the opportunity to receive my newsletter for more than 50% off. That's right. Money Radio listeners can get my newsletter for over half off the monthly price. Go to BillTatro.com/moneyradio to get this exclusive offer. That's less than $10 per month to get peace of mind directly to your inbox. Go to BillTatro.com/moneyradio today.
Still taking your child's temperature the way it was done decades ago? Upgraded the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer available at fine retailers everywhere.
Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. Talk show icon David Letterman's retirement is about to end. Netflix has announced January 12th as the start date for a new 60-minute monthly show called My Next Guest Needs No Introduction. The show will have Letterman interviewing guests and doing in-the-field segments. The first batch of guests includes President Obama, George Clooney, and Howard Stern. Shares of Select Biotechnology are up a fraction today after jumping 40% Thursday. The Israel-based company is touting positive results from an ongoing clinical trial for cancer patients in which its technology is used to pick out stem cells from other cells in an effort to prevent complications after stem cell transplants. The broader market remains higher. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is now up 113 points. The Nasdaq Composite is ahead 44 points. The S&P 500 is up 10. That's your Money Now.
Prices are for base buildings only. Do not include windows, doors, or accessories. Stocks are soaring, and construction spending across America has been on the rise. If you've been waiting to build, the time is now. Whether you want to expand your business or you want to build a new garage, call General Steel today. Our metal building kits bolt together quickly and are custom designed for your needs. For example, a 40 by 60 is a great space for an auto shop, RV and camper storage, or 3-car garage. Call General Steel today. It's on sale now for under $25,000. Or imagine a 50 by 100 clear span building for under $40,000. Suitable for the booming warehousing industry, manufacturing facilities, or a church sanctuary. That's 5,000 square feet for $8 or less per foot. Call 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-95-STEEL. With construction in high demand, this special pricing won't last long. Call to lock your building price today at 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-95-STEEL. 866-957-8335.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And we are on segment number 3. We're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. It is January 5th, 2018, and I've got Barbara Penn Atkins. She's a consultant and coach, and if you missed the first 2 segments, catch them up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button, drop down to the 3rd button there. You'll catch the radio show. You'll catch these first 2 segments that you missed, and about 180 to 190 others that we've been bringing to you for nearly 5 years. So, Barbara, I want to jump right back into it. Barbara shared with us in the first and second segment, her illustrious career, from a professional standpoint. She also talked about how she had a wonderful life with a beautiful family, a beautiful husband and mom, and really, tragedy befell her where she had a lot of loss. And that's where we're at right now. And I want to really talk about how you transitioned into being this coach, being into this life that you're living here today, where you didn't pack it in and say, woe is me, I can't do it anymore, because I know a lot of people would. And you just said, that's not for me. And you said to me that you had, was it your son that told you to come on out here, and you moved out here to Arizona, and that's where I want you to pick up from there.
Yes, my son extended the invitation for me to move to Arizona. He says, Mom, he said, I am sure that whatever has happened in the past, that you will find that not only the weather, but this is a community that has a lot of people in your age group. And he says, there's work to be done here. And as a retirement transition life coach, that's what I have found. I've given over 60 speeches and workshops here in the Valley to 55 and above. But I transitioned from where I was into this arena of coaching primarily because I saw so much focus on financial planning, and no one was talking about life planning.
Right.
And so I decided that I wanted to take my coaching arena into the non-financial planning aspect to help people to understand how to be proactive about work, life, play, and a lifestyle that they want in the future. Because if you're not proactive about it, you can have a pile of money like Warren Buffett, But if you are unhappy and you do not know what to do with yourself, you keep wondering every day, what is next? How am I going to make it? You will be just moving along and growing old, and you have not made a contribution. We have too many organizations, nonprofits, the United Way, for one, which has always been one of my favorite, where there are needs in the community.
Absolutely.
So, time to repurpose yourself, take your knowledge and your skills, and then recycle them into something that you can be passionate about. And that's what I did. I took the knowledge and the skills and the experience and my passion for people at all levels and decide to fold it into the bowl of soup and then make a difference in other people's lives. One of my key speeches that I love to give right now, it is called Unleashing the Power of Aging. Because if you look back over your life, 20, 30, and 40 years in the past, what have you gained? There has been a lot of experience. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of training that you have gone through. We are living in an era of accelerated change.
Oh, absolutely.
We are living in a time where our youth needs the experiences of our elders. I started my business when I was in my 40s. When I reached my 70s is when I wrote my book on 70 is the new 40s. Bonus years, here I come. And so...
And if I can say this, I'm looking at your book right here.
Thank you.
And first of all, I said it at the top of the show, you're a beautiful woman. And you're in a really fancy sport car there. And it says 70 is the new 40. Bonus years to come. Barbara Penn Atkins, and the foreword was written by a woman by Demita Zyback. Tell me a little bit about her.
When I first started my company, I had just registered, and I was a speaker at one of the high schools in Michigan, in Detroit. And this young lady came up to me and asked if she could work with me. And she just barely was 15, and she said 15 3/4.
Wow.
And I says, what can you do? She said, I can do anything that you want me to do. Well, first of all, I didn't know what I wanted to do, other than I wanted to start this business.
Right.
And so she showed up in my office with her work permit in hand. And that was an humble beginning. And I mentored her from high school through undergraduate, through graduate, through her PhD. She eventually became the Associate Director of Public Health for the state of Michigan.
No way.
After 20-some years with the state of Michigan, I'm mentoring her all along, still her new mom. She says, Miss Atkins, I don't think I'm going to have enough money for my retirement. I think I'm going to go in the Navy because I want to provide services. And so she, again, was reporting to the Surgeon General in the U.S. Department of Navy.
No way.
Today, in 2017, she's a lieutenant commander working in the Pentagon, still providing services to our country and to the people in the healthcare arena. So mentoring is absolutely invaluable. We have too many youth that could benefit from the knowledge, skills, and experience of our adults.
Amen. Seriously, I've said that before on our show. Retirement is something that people, strive for, and a lot of times businesses are forcing people into retirement, and we have so many older adults that have so much left in their cup to give. And one place to give it is to this youth that we have, and to mentor them and educate them and assist them to be productive in their respectful communities.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Respectful communities. So, you have done some amazing things in just these few years that you have now taken on this position of being a retirement life transition coach. And, I want to just really get a chance, and if you can share with us as we end our third segment, and we'll get ready to start our fourth, how does a person transition from what you went through, which was an extraordinary, successful career, to really significance and having significance in your life?
The first thing is I would highly recommend that a person, especially our youth, in their 30s, 35, 40s, and on into their 50s, start looking beyond what they're doing today and think of what matters most to me.
Mm-hmm.
What will matter most to me 5 to 10 years from now? Where am I going to be? Start writing your own life plan. We spend more time planning for a wedding, a trip, and to the football game than we do about ourselves.
And you said it earlier. I mean, we spend a lot of time financial planning, and here we are. We're on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM, and that's how they talk about here is money planning, right?
Absolutely.
But you're talking about life planning.
Right. And bridging the two together.
Bring the two together. So when we get in here, our fourth segment here, and it's hard to believe we're already down 3, but when we get into this fourth segment, I really want to concentrate on that whole life planning aspect. Agreed?
Agreed.
You got it, Barbara.
100%.
You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. We're down our third segment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Johnny Dean.
And I'm Rick, the Professor Plum.
Every day on Bucket Strategy Investing, we're talking about financial planning, investment decisions, and retirement strategies.
We focus on wealth education and the strategy designed for the needs you have today
and the goals you have for the future. Tune in to Bucket Strategy Investing.
And call in with questions.
Retirement strategies, taxes, Social Security, and more. That's what we're talking about on Bucket Strategy Investing.
The results are in. A survey of Inc. 5000 companies shows the top barriers to growth.
It's taking finance too long to close the books.
So slow to launch new products.
We need to hire good people and keep them.
Too many disconnected systems. I can't see what's happening in my business.
Sounds like they've outgrown their business and financial management systems. QuickBooks and spreadsheets worked fine at the start, but now it takes twice the effort to get things done, and you can't get accurate answers. You should know the #1 system for growing companies, NetSuite from Oracle. NetSuite is the one system that tracks and manages revenue, cash flow, HR, inventory, projects, even e-commerce for every industry. Now you can run your business from a dashboard on your phone. That's why thousands of companies use NetSuite. It's the only system you need to run your business. Go to netsuite.com/radio to get your free guide called Crushing the 5 Barriers to Growth. That's netsuite.com/radio.
Would you know what to do if you encounter a wrong-way driver? Let's hope you never find out. But if you ever do see a wrong-way driver coming at you, slow down, safely steer away, and get off the roadway. At night, drive defensively and be aware of what's ahead and around you. And if you see a sign warning of a wrong-way driver, safely move toward and take the next freeway exit on the right. Drive aware. Get there. Sponsored by the Arizona Department of Transportation in partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Still taking your child's temperature the way it was done decades ago? Upgraded the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer available at fine retailers everywhere.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. A little Led Zeppelin bringing us in. Thank you, James. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you, and we're on our fourth segment. And I have the wonderful honor of having Barbara Penn Atkins here in the studio, and she is a retirement life transition coach, and she is an extraordinary woman. And if you've not listened to the first 3 segments, please go up to our website a little later today. You'll catch all this entire show, but you'll catch the first 3 segments that you missed. And we're going to jump right into it because the message that she has is amazing. And we were just talking at the break how mindset is everything, isn't it, Barbara?
It is.
You have to have such a positive mindset and a good mindset about you. So when we left in our last segment, we were talking about how a person transitions from a stellar career like she had into significance in what she is doing. And I want her to carry on and finish what you were sharing, because we got interrupted by a break. And those things happen. We have to take a commercial break. So here we are. We're back. We got about 7 or 8 minutes. I want to wrap this show up really tightly. And I also want to give our listening audience right now, and we'll do it at the end of the show, if you want to learn more about what Barbara is doing, go to www.sunrisebeginnings.com or call her at 623-466-2229. And this book that she wrote is 70 is the New 40. Take it away.
Bullish years, here we come.
Bullish years, there you go.
Absolutely. Well, we were talking earlier about the mindset. The mindset is critically important. You've got to remember the old saying is, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he will achieve it.
I love
and
it.
it is the same thing with our transitioning from a stellar career into retirement. One of the most important things about retirement is that we allow too many barriers to stand in the place. In our place, if we do not have a life plan to bridge the gaps between the finance and where do we want to go. Most importantly is that I have found in my training, and I have in my assessment toolbox, that there are 15 factors that as a person is making this transition that they truly must consider. And the most important part is your work reorientation. To what extent and how much of your personal identity did you take or will you take from the job that you've had? You should not allow what you've done in the past to define who you are in the future.
I love it.
And there's another, and I won't go through all of the 15 factors, but another one is your attitude. Is your attitude toward retirement? Are you looking forward to it? Are you looking for the second stage of life? Because that is a new beginning. And how you approach that new beginning, it depends on you. How you purposely will repurpose what you have done in the past and make it a pinnacle peak experience for yourself. Another one is your health perception. What do you think about your health? You're either going to accept the fact that you have a cold today and
right.
that you're not going to go into bronchitis, that you're going to do the necessary things to treat it so that you can be up and about life.
And I want to interrupt you 1 second, because you shared with me before we even started the show, you talk about health, right?
Mm-hmm. Health is important.
And you talked about a gentleman that you knew that operated a business from a wheelchair.
Oh, most definitely.
I mean, and for my listening audience, that, just that visualization of somebody who, look, age befell him and he can no longer, be mobile. He's in a chair and he has a successful business.
He does. He says he needed to have supplemental income to cover the expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I have all of this previous experience, and I am going to write a plan so that I can take it to the world via the new technology. So he gives webinars, and he has products that he sells online.
I love it.
So the money his income goes directly to his bank. He has a check in the mail for himself, and so he runs a successful business. It does not matter if you are able to walk, talk, or use some kind of medical device that can help you that you cannot perceive positively.
He didn't let the chair define him.
No, that did not define him. That's one of the greatest things that I like in my first sessions when I got into this coaching, retirement coaching, is that I belong to an organization called Positive Aging.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, it has just motivated me all along so that I could help others. But let me just get back to a few of
I
those,
interrupted
those
you. I'm sorry.
factors in there. I'm just going to talk about maybe 3 or 4 of them, of the factors. That one of them is your financial security. You need to have that.
Right.
I always say finance without romance is nothing. So you've got to bridge the two together to make the lifestyle. It's your choices that you have. And then directness. Are you a self-reliant decision maker? Decide what you want and go for it and stick to it. The most important part, again, is your current life satisfaction. Is it woe is me? Or is it a positive mindset connected to the heart so that you can function from your authentic self?
I love the latter part. Not woe is me, but that part I love.
Think about it. And then the other one is dependence. As you are aging beyond that 40, 50, and 60 mark, chances are your parents are still living. Chances are you have now experienced the empty nest syndrome. Chances are you have this huge home that you love, or maybe it could be small and moderate. But whatever it is, you want to live in place where you are. Mm-hmm. How can we do those kind of things? To what extent will you be burdened by your children and your aging parents? So that has to factor into your life plan along with your financial plan. Now, this is the time that you may want to think in terms of an encore career.
I love it.
Putting together an encore career today is not as difficult as it was in the 50s and 60s when I started, because we have technology so that you can conduct everything online, you can have webinars, you can sell products. There are so many things to do.
And if you need some help with your technology, you buy an Apple product, and I'm not here endorsing Apple, but you go in there and they give you classes. Microsoft does the same thing. You go to the Genius Bar, they'll teach you how to use your technology.
Use the tools.
Exactly.
And so those are some of the other. Then what is your perception of age? Are you 50 years old? Are you 50 years young? Are you 82 years old? Are you 82 years young? Because age is just a number. So, and the thing is, it's your perceptions. Do not have issues with your age.
Well, I'll tell you what, you have given us so much to consider, to think about. Your story is so inspiring, Barbara. And I hope our listening audience really took to heart some of the things you've just shared, especially the last statement. Age does not define you. It's just a number. You know, I've got a friend of mine that is going to be the big 6-0 tomorrow, and I want to wish him a happy birthday. He happens to own this radio station, so Ron Cohen, happy birthday. And age does not define you. It's just a number. Barbara, your phone number again is 623-466-2229. You can reach her at www.sunrisebeginnings.com. It's been such a pleasure to have you here on the show.
It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you so very much, Bob.
You've inspired me. Make it a great day. Have a great weekend, and Happy New Year. It's hard to believe it's 2018.
Thank you. I can't believe it myself.
I can't believe it either. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week.
Enjoy the moment.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit cypresshomecare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Hey, Phoenix, Larry Kudlow here. Be sure to join me every Saturday at 2 p.m. on the Southwest's longest-running financial talk radio station, the one and only Money Radio. And during the week, don't miss Mastering Money with hosts Steve Jurich and Ken Morgan daily at 8 a.m. right here on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
For podcasts, download the free Mastering Money app for both Apple and Android and visit masteringmoneyradio.com.
Money Radio 1510 and 105.3
95.3 FM.
KFN Mesa, Phoenix. Time to look at the market. Well, the Dow's up 38 points at 25,213. The S&P 500 up 12 at 2736. The Nasdaq up 43 at 7121. Gold is up 10 cents, trading at $13.21 an ounce. Oil's down 50 cents, trading at $61.51 a barrel.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news. And we begin